Welcome back, mi gente. It's your girls, Nati Natalia and that killer Brit. I know we've been away for a little while, but best believe we missed you guys.
Oh, so
So
much.
I know, man, so crazy. It's only been like a week, but we really missed you guys.
Honestly, I felt like it was so much longer.
Me too.
Is
I felt like
that
it was like a
crazy?
month,
Yeah,
but time has
I
just been going like this, honestly.
yes, and
Like
I
it's already
love talking to you
December. Like
guys for real.
I know, honestly, yeah. So hit us up, people. Hit us up.
Hmm.
But today we are talking about kind of like our parents' generation and their way of thinking versus our generation and our way of thinking and doing things. Because I'm pretty sure our generation has broke so many rules when it comes to marriage, kids, moving out the house,
Oh yeah,
career. Brittany and I sure freaking did, and it's been lit.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Brittany and I moved out the house when we were pretty young. I was 18 and Britt was around 19, 20. And then, yeah, so I moved away because I didn't want to be in California anymore. It was somewhat in regards to my parents, but it was more so the environment here. Like, I didn't want to be around the people I grew up with because I felt that nobody was really progressing. And if I wanted to make it out, I had to be the first one to do it.
Mhm.
Because I never really had that mentorship. But I'm very, very grateful. I dipped out to the other side of the country and met
Amen.
Brittany, met so many amazing people, had so
Hell
many
yeah,
memories that I'm very, very grateful for and shaped who I am today. So yeah, Britt, why'd you move out the casa?
girl. I was ready to get the fuck out the house. I love my parents, guys. I promise you. Everyone that knows me knows I love my parents so much.
Yes.
Like to they're the death of me. But it comes to a point where I feel like after I turned 12 or 13, they just thought I remained the same age for the rest of my
Mhm.
life. And I
Mhm.
was like, no, baby. A girl is grown. A girl has been paying her car, has been paying for her freaking insurance, has been
Yeah.
paying her bills, her
Mhm.
credit card,
Yeah.
And I think it comes to a point where it's like, I know, everyone says, well, you're not 21 yet, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I get it. But, at least you can let como le dicen, the leash, you can let the leash
Oh,
go a
yeah.
little bit,
Mhm. Mhm.
No, they were not letting no leash go. It was like amarrado and three knots type of thing, right? And I was like, no, I can't do this. So
Yeah.
I dipped. And like, I think for my family at least, I was the first one to move out of my, like my
House?
parents' house. Yeah, like all my
Um,
cousins. I was the
yeah.
first one.
I think I was the second because I have an older cousin, and I think
Hmm.
at the time he was in Pennsylvania, so I was the second one. But yeah, it's lit, honestly.
It was.
I
It was
definitely
a good
forget that
time.
feeling. Hell yeah, what a time to be
Yeah.
alive, honestly. And it's crazy because I think that's why I feel so old. Because you guys
Yeah.
don't know, Brittany and I were 96 babies. You feel me? So it's our Kobe year, and we're so. um, I feel like I'm so much older. Not okay. Obviously, I
Same.
feel like older because my body be changing, but I feel older in the sense of my maturity. Because
Your
when we
soul.
moved out, yeah, like when we moved
Mhm.
out, obviously it was fun. We mommy and daddy aren't telling us be home by 9, like catch me at 6
Yep.
a.m. Um,
Memories.
yeah, but I think it also helped us grow as adults because we learned money management. We learned how it was to live with other
Hell
people,
yeah.
because growing up, I've always had my siblings, but like living with strangers and not that you guys are strangers, but it's like we're not
But we didn't know
accustomed to
each other.
everybody.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like we lived 15 years with somebody,
Yeah, exactly.
like
Mm-hmm.
your whole life. No, it's like you have to get used to because I feel like something that a lot of people don't tell you when you move out is like you got to like the person because let me tell you, living with somebody is a completely different ball game than just being friends with them and you guys each go to your own house at the end of the day.
Yeah, or
So
it's
like
yeah, or it's not like you're going on like a 3-day vacation or like a week
exactly.
vacation.
Or
Like,
Airbnb.
yeah,
Yes.
no, this is totally different. So there are some
Girl.
friends who are super too cool people. Should you live with
Yeah,
them? Nah. And
exactly.
it sucks because it's kind of like trial and error type thing.
Mhm.
But that definitely taught me another thing too, the way I like how it kind of made me realize a lot of things, how I am as a person.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, very grateful that we moved out of the house, and we're still learning. We're still learning. Um, but yeah, so our parents were not very happy. Well, at least my dad was not happy at
Shit
all.
hit the fan very quickly.
Yeah, I basically didn't even tell my dad I signed my lease. I
Savage.
He called me right after we signed all the paperwork, and I was like, "No, dad, staying in Miami, not coming home." And yeah, he was pissed. But I think he got over it and he understood, like, I think that's the scary part. Well, not scary, but it's hard because we're the older ones, you know? And I think our parents are
Yes.
so like, no, mijita, like, it's okay. And it's like, like, I love you so much and I love you that you love me so much, but please just let me be, you know?
And
Like,
let you make your own mistakes, you know?
exactly. And like, I think that that's the thing. Like, they don't want me to fail. And I totally get that. But it's like, I have to fail because my parents failed at so many things. And
Yeah.
that's what made them who they are today. And I have to do that because it's my life, it's not theirs. And I think
Period.
like this whole
Mm.
basis of the conversation is that the way that we didn't do things or we're not doing things is because at the end of the day you have to realize that you're not we're our parents' daughters, but we're not our parents, and
Oh,
their
amen.
shortcomings or their failures aren't our own. So like the fact that they didn't go to school doesn't mean that we have to go to school and be a lawyer like our my mom wanted to be or my dad, you
Mhm.
know. And I had to learn that. Like sometimes I forget about that because I want to make them happy and I want to make them proud, but I also need to make sure that I'm happy because it's my life, you know.
Yeah.
And when I die, it's literally
It's
me.
you.
Was I
Yeah.
fulfilled or was I fulfilling other people? And
Yeah.
that's the big question you need to
Oh
ask
my God. We're gonna quote that. Was I
yourself. Period.
fulfilled or was I fulfilling other people?
Thank
Oh
you,
my
thank you.
God. Please get your fucking that in in your life, please.
Amen,
Because that really
amen.
just snatched my edges. Like I'm about to put that in the quotes real quick.
I know.
But
But it's
honestly,
true though.
yes, I 100% agree. I think, especially me, since I'm second generation,
Mhm,
it's so difficult. Like, because okay, my mom has came at the age of 21 to America. You feel
mhm,
me?
mhm.
Don't get me wrong, boss ass. Like that is a very
Period.
hard decision. Like to leave another country that you've known your whole life to a country that you've never had any correlation with, never had visited or nothing. Props to
Yeah.
her, you know? So obviously she has the quote unquote American dream is what I call it.
Mhm.
And so you want your kid to be successful because you know you made the sacrifices X, Y, and Z, which I'm
Yeah.
super grateful for. Because my
Mhm.
mom, throughout my whole life, has always made a sacrifice for me and me and my sister,
Yeah.
and so I'm like overly grateful for everything that she's done for me. But it came to the point where I had to realize that she has her life and I have mine.
Mhm.
Know? Do I wish that yes, I could like be a lawyer and I was gonna be happy with being a lawyer? Of course, you know, because you don't ever want
Mhm.
to fail your parents. But
Yeah.
like I tried it and it just was not for me. Like
Mhm.
it really wasn't. And now I'm understanding through like a lot of trial and error that like you said, like this is my life, you know,
Mhm.
like you had your life, you know, you made your decisions, you made your trial and errors. Now it's time for me to make my own, you know. And yeah, you can give me your advice, but you also have to accept the fact that sometimes I'm not going to take your advice,
Exactly.
you
Mhm.
know. And I think for our parents, it's very difficult because they're like, "Oh no, but I already went through that," and da 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 da. Da.
Yes.
And like, okay, and that's good that you went through that. You know, it made you who you are today. I need something that's gonna make me who I want to be in the future. You
Mhm.
know, and that's
Mhm.
through trial and error.
Mhm.
And so for my family, like it was very difficult. I think at first when I like put my major to communications because it wasn't like a typical job. You know, it
Mhm.
wasn't like a lawyer, a doctor,
Mhm.
business administration, or
Like a nurse or
yeah, you know,
yeah.
like things like that. So it was just very difficult. But I think finally they realized that like I feel like in my family I'm like the oddball
Mhm.
where I don't wanna like all my cousins study psychology. All of them like are doing their thing. My sister wants to be a nurse and I'm like more of a how am I gonna impact the world?
I feel
You
that.
know?
Mhm.
Like I'm very more of like people to people, human
Yes.
interaction,
Mhm.
communication. I think I'm an effective communicator. So how exactly was I going to sit here and then say, "Oh yeah, I'm just going to be at my desk working a 9 to 5 for the
Mhm.
rest of my life." I
Mhm.
would be lying to myself and I wouldn't be satisfying myself because I would be a people pleaser to my parents, you know?
Yes. Mhm.
And I think it was hard for them because they're both like, "Yo, you're wasting your money like in school then basically because like what type of jobs can you get with that? Like why like and I'm like, what does it matter what type of jobs I can get for it, you know? Like it comes to a point where it's just like money doesn't really buy everything, you know?
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, you can
Mm.
get some nice ass shit, yeah, but it's not gonna buy me my happiness when I'm complaining about my 9 to 5 every time I hang out with people and talking
Yeah.
about how much I hate my job. Like,
Yeah.
it's not gonna buy that. It's not. It's gonna buy, yes, it's gonna buy maybe my house and stuff like that, but there's other ways, I think, especially now in this generation, which I'm overly grateful for, where like now you can be an entrepreneur,
Mhm.
you can be a photographer, you can be a videographer, and you could still make it out in life,
Mhm.
hustling really, really hard. And
Mhm.
I think our generation is product of that compared to the previous generation.
Is I think our parents' generation, like, there was very like, you go to school, you get a good job, you retire. Like
Yeah.
this is what you should do. Our generation is like, well, I could take a break from school, then go to school, then open up my own business, graduate, do this. So
Yes.
ours are like forever intertwining paths. It's not
Yes.
a linear path that our parents are used to. Also, I completely understand. Like, I think majority of us can relate that our parents do work really hard and have sacrificed so much for us to
Yeah.
have a nice home, have meals on the table, have food, you know? Um, but part of that ties into why I feel the need to do what I do or choose my career because,
Yeah.
yes, is it important to have money? Of course. We all should have enough money to feed, clothe, and have a roof over our head. But um, I do think it's important to be fulfilled because I've
Oh,
always seen my dad come
yes.
home stressed, like, fuck this, da da da, or like
Currently, all
stressing
the
about,
time.
yeah. And I don't want that. And I really am thankful the fact that we did move out the house
Mhm.
and going to school. For those that don't know, Brittany took a year off of school. I had to stop going to school for financial reasons, and we started working. Like, it wasn't like, okay, well, I'm
Yeah.
gonna just kick it on mom's couch.
I
No,
wish.
we had to
Yeah.
work because we
For
have bills,
real. Mhm.
So within that time, and even still now working, Brittany and I talk about all the time, girl, I cannot wait till our abundance because da da
Oh,
da da da. And like,
yes.
I'm very grateful for that because I think that's the difference when I see from a lot of my friends who just went straight to school, and like they walk out of school and they're like, what am I gonna do now? Because
Yeah.
during when you're in school, like especially if you're a full time student, like you need to get those good grades, or we think we need to,
Mhm.
um. So I think a lot of it ties into that, but I am not like, I like to help people. I know what I like to do. And to some people, it may seem like, well, why are you doing this? Or why would you do that? It's not even going to work. Or
Yeah.
you're not going to be the next, like, freaking Amazon or Forever 21 or
I hate
anything
the
like
negative
that.
Nancy's. That's what
Me
we call them.
too. But,
Bald-headed chickens. They're part of that group.
yeah,
All the bald-headed chickens in that.
yeah. But I've had to learn that along the way, you're gonna have people who don't believe in you, but the point is for
Facts.
me to believe in myself.
Mhm.
Because and that's where it plays into like criticism. Because growing up, I've never really had that with anything in my life, like regards to like career, moving out, getting married, having kids. My family for the most part has been very, very supportive. Maybe at the time when they hear things, they're like, I don't know, mijita. But once I start saying it, or now that I'm older, I think my dad for the most part understands that, like, it's your life, it's not my life, and he's always telling me that, and I'm very, very grateful. So now, like, I think that's why when they see us, they're very confused, like, what, a girl trying to get her own money, a girl trying to have her own
Yeah.
name? Like, no, honey, you should be married and have the 3 kids. And it's like, mamita, that is not what I'm trying to do here. Because
Yeah.
I don't know, I can't speak for every family, but in my family, for the most part, that's basically what the women have done, like like my grandma came here, she met my grandpa, had my mom, had my tias. My mom met my dad, had me. Like, but when my mom at my age already had 4 kids,
Child.
I do not think
I
so. Like,
can't even imagine having one in the next 5 years. So,
dude, me either. Like, I don't get me wrong, I love babies, but it's just like, no, wait till I'm 30 or 35. And I
yeah.
don't buy into this timeline, like, oh, you're getting old. Like,
Oh my, okay, can
girl,
I
I'm
mention something
still
though?
young.
Let me tell you something. That's one thing that I'm grateful with my parents, at least. Where like with me compared to like my other family members,
Mm.
my parents have been very like go to school and get your own so you don't
Yes.
depend on somebody, you know? Like my mom has been very adamant. Don't get me wrong, is she old school in the sense of like you should get married first and things like that, of
Mm,
course. But she
mhm.
always said your education is everything because the last thing that she said is my daughter is not gonna be sitting here aguantando un hombre to talking shit to you left and right because you don't have an education.
And
I
that's on
refuse.
them,
And I said,
period.
thank you. Thank you. That's why I'm just like, boo. That's exactly it.
Yeah.
But um and it makes me super grateful too because I think my dad, since he is American,
Mhm.
he in my family at least, I don't ever notice like my mom serving my dad and things like that, you know?
Oh, okay. Mhm.
Because that's not like a thing in my house.
Mhm.
Like if my dad's hungry, he'll make food for everybody. You feel me?
Yeah,
And then
yeah,
if my mom wants to cook, she'll cook too. Or like
yeah.
my mom has to like do the laundry. My dad knows how to do his laundry. Like if he got like don't get me wrong, like obviously like if my mom's doing a
Yeah.
load, she's not gonna be like, no, Donald, go do your
Mhm.
own.
Yeah.
You know?
Mhm.
No, she'll like do it, you know. But like same thing if my dad wants to do a load, he's not gonna put only his clothes in the laundry and say F everybody else. You feel
Yeah.
me?
Mhm.
And so like in that sense I'm super grateful for it because to me it's like I see like my mom's brothers and sisters
Mhm.
and they either expect to be served by the woman or the woman
Mm.
serves the man. And
Yeah.
I'm like, I'll be damned. I'll tell you
Yeah.
that right now. This is not a you're on top of me. Okay. We
Yeah.
are co relationshipers. We are together
Mhm.
as one. Therefore, I will help you out the same amount that you will help me out. I refuse to let a man think that he is on top of me. Oh no,
Yeah,
baby.
and that's one thing
Okay.
my dad always told us, like, a man
Mm-hmm.
can never take away your education because that's something
Period.
you earned, you know? He didn't
Yep.
give that to you. And a shout out to my dad, shout out to girl dads
Oh, for
because,
real.
my dad always told us, you know, like, even now, like, he will never like or trust any guy I bring home. But he's
He
always
won't.
pushed us, you know, like, have more for yourself because
Yeah.
he's seen how uh, my dad's always worked in the corporate world,
Mm-hmm.
so he's seen women who have their own and who are like, I don't need a fucking man, you know? And it's like, yeah, mamita, like go get your whatever you
Yeah.
want. You know, if you want a Mercedes, go get it. If you
For
want to have like your
real.
little Honda Civic, go get it. But don't ever let a man say that you have this because of me. And that's
Exactly.
every reason why I work hard is because don't get me wrong, I love the idea of love. But I'll be damned if um I bring like kids into this world, or if I have a husband who thinks he could just control me. Like, you're not about to
Period.
give me an allowance. You're not about to tell me what I can and cannot do, you know, because
Child.
I am my own person. I'm not your
Yep.
puppy, you know?
Yep.
Um, so, in regards to, since we're speaking about like, guys and stuff, my dad never pushed. I mean, obviously, I think he obviously my mom especially because my parents got married through court.
Mhm.
She definitely wants me to have the blessing of getting married through church. Um, but my dad, it was kind of funny because okay, so with my ex boyfriend, I
Mhm.
remember one time it was so fucking random. He was like, "Oh, you and so, are you guys thinking about moving in together?" And I was like, "Oh, like yeah, like we've been thinking about that." He was like, "I think that'll be really good for you guys because like you grow, like you've been together X amount of years, but you learn a lot about a person when living together." And in my
Facts.
head, I was like, "Oh my god, my
Shook.
dad is telling me to move in with a man.
That's
Oh
woke.
my god." Obviously, like I don't think he 100% likes the idea, but I think because of how him and my mom are or were,
Mhm.
he does not want that for us. And I don't want that
Yeah.
either. So I was
Yes.
kind of shook. I was like, damn. But yeah,
Yo,
my
I
dad
feel
is
you
like,
with that.
get married at 50, don't have kids till you're 50. Like,
Yeah.
he's so much more like, go get your stuff, Mita. Like, go get your
Yeah.
money, go get your paper, go get what you want to do, go travel. So I'm very grateful for that.
I
But
think my
yeah.
parents are like 50-50, you
Hmm.
know?
Hmm.
So like half of them is like, they're like for sure like go get your own first, you know?
Yeah.
But
Hmm.
then they're like, but don't be 50 or like don't be 30, you feel me?
Hmm.
So I'm just like, bro, like, bro, I feel like I get it from my sister more. My sister, because
Yeah.
she be on Instagram. She's like,
Yeah.
oh my god, I want to be a tia, and I'm like, well, Stephanie's about to hopefully have the first kid because, girl, I am not gonna have. Girl, what we not gonna do is this, okay? And so, but like my parents too, like my mom's like, oh, I want to have grandkids, and I'm like, well, Kimberly's only 19 years old, so I think you got a couple more
Yeah.
years because I'm like, It's not coming from over here. I promise you
Yeah.
on that one.
Yeah.
But no, my mom now
Mhm.
has been more in the sense of like, oh, like moving in with somebody before you get married with them. And I'm actually pretty grateful because I have a lot of relatives that they're like, no, that you have to get married first before you leave the house. And then
Mhm.
when they do that, they look so miserable in their marriage. And it's just like, bro, you've just been married for like less than 5 years. I feel like
Yes.
when you're married, I think the first 10 years should be like the honeymoon phase of your marriage.
For me, like,
You
it's
know?
lit. That's what I feel, but,
Yeah.
I think it's because we have those examples of, like, what not to do. So
Yes.
I'm trying everything to not be like that.
Date somebody for a long period of time.
Mhm.
Okay. Then get into a relationship with that person for another
Yeah.
long period of time. Then within that long period of time of you in a relationship with them, decide to move in for another long period of time.
Travel together, like
Yes, all those things play a factor, and I think people forget about that. Like, yo, if we can't travel together, I promise you, we cannot be
yeah.
together
No.
because no, that no. And then finally, I say it good. I think you should know the person for. Don't get me wrong. My parents got together, well, got married. 30 days of knowing each other,
Oh, wow.
crazy. I know.
I think my
Can you
parents got
imagine?
married, like well, my mom and my dad had me, I think within 3 months of knowing each other. Yeah.
Okay, so
So, see,
like
this
we
is my
said,
Brittany.
this is why I get you because I'm just like, and don't get me wrong, our parents have been with each
Yeah.
other over 20 something years, but
Yeah.
like
Mhm.
it's
That's just a
rough.
lot. Yeah.
Yeah, it's rough. Like it's hard, and I have no idea how people do it. Like
Me
I
either.
really don't. Like,
Yeah.
and I think that's why our parents, when it says like, "Yo, live with that person first,"
Mhm.
because it's like I've been through it. Like, bro, sometimes my mom, even my mom and dad, they talk about things, and I'm just like, damn, that's what I say. You see, like sometimes you have to have these discussions when you're first dating somebody, because if not, it comes up, and then you're like, fuck, like 5 years down the line, you're both miserable going through a divorce. I don't want to go through a
Yes.
divorce. It's
Oh,
so much.
yeah.
That's more expensive than the wedding, actually. Like, you think I'm trying to do that?
Yeah.
No.
I um I just think it's so like obviously if it works for you, it works for you. And if it doesn't, it
Yeah,
doesn't. Because
of
I definitely have
course.
friends who, you know, they're doing it like the traditional way. Will I do it that way? Most likely not. Um,
Same.
but I think it's also in the sense of like how you and I like we're raised differently than our other friends are.
Yeah.
No, and not and that's not a bad thing, God bless them.
Mhm.
Shoot, I
For
wish.
real. Me
But
too.
definitely feel like no, I'm going to move in with my mans before we even get
Same.
married. Definitely gonna travel. And that's another thing too. Like I think you learn their mentality of like, okay, like so do you want kids or like where are we at financially? Because don't get me
Yep.
wrong, it's great and grand to have this fantasy, but you also have to be realistic with yourself. You know what I
And
mean?
financial definitely plays a huge role. I
Yeah, like
promise
how are we
you.
going to divide the bills? Is it 50-50 or am I going to take 75 and you take 25?
Yeah.
Like what is it going to be? Because that's also another thing that when you move in together, rent and bills don't stop, like there's a lot of things
Period.
that come into it. What about if you have an accident and are you going to
God
be
forbid you can't
physically
work.
yeah, or God forbid you get um I don't know,
You're
like you're in the hospital.
quadriplegic, can't move
Yes,
from the
like
neck down. Is
yes,
that
like
person gonna be taking care of you, or are they gonna finish send you back to your mama?
that's
What they gonna do?
exactly my point, bro. That's exactly
Yeah,
my point. Like
and
they
it's
got to be down for you
crazy
the way you're down for
for
them,
real.
and that's one thing I'm learning right now. Like,
Yeah,
no, because when I'm saying I'm down for you, I am down for you.
facts. I agree with that
But
statement 100%.
yeah, I've
I know
noticed
now
that
would clean my ass if I'm quadriplegic.
I got you, girl. Shoot, because
Thank
that's
you.
just love, Like to
Yeah,
me, it's not like, oh, I have to do it. Because some people are like that, like, oh, like
yeah,
I have to do this, or no, it's like, dude, I don't even give a shit. Like, come on, like, like it's not gonna phase me type thing.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, no, for me, I'm definitely cool being the Thea for a couple more years.
Me too. And that's on motherfucking period. Just
Mm,
saying. But you know
yeah,
what's crazy? Okay, we know that our family are what's it called? The first family, like the close family,
media family.
immediate family. Esa es la
Mhm.
palabra, immediate. Word of the day, immediate. Our immediate family, I know they're very supportive of us taking our time.
Mhm.
Do you get it from like and third or fourth generation Latinos where it's just like, well, you're 24 years old. Like, what are you doing with your life? Why aren't you married? Why aren't you having kids?
I don't think I've ever gotten it from my family members, but my mom's friends for sure.
Yeah.
Always like when they're like, "Oh, like how are your like how are your daughters?" And she'll like, I'm usually the one that's traveling, so she's like, "Oh, like Nati's in Hawaii or Nati's over here," and they're like, "Oh, she's not
Period.
married, like she doesn't have kids," because their kids are, my age, having like five of them. Actually, I
Oh,
have four cousins that I think the oldest one is probably 2 years or 3 years older than me. All of them are working on like their third kid. They're all married. They got married. They found their husbands. They found at church. They're all married with two kids. One's um, working on her third. The baby, actually, she is married, but she moved. I think she's in Chicago,
hmm,
because she doesn't want kids right now. So she moved away because she didn't want to hear it from her mom and her
I
dad that like,
bet.
my
They're gonna be like,
siblings.
what's wrong with you?
Yeah,
Literally.
girl, when I went, I think they looked at me like I was the craziest girl because they were like, "Oh, like, do you have a boyfriend?" I was like, "No," because me and my ex had broke up at the time,
Uh-huh.
and I was like, "No." They're like, "Do you have kids?" No, like, I'm just working, I make my money and I go travel, like, and they were looking at me like, "What?" And I'm just like, "Damn, mom, like, thank God." Like, I was like, "Thank you,
Yeah.
mom,"
Bro.
because I don't know if I would have survived in a household like this.
I don't think I would either. I think those households push you to where you want to move out the house so bad that you're
Yeah,
willing to suffer and marry this person and have their kids. And you know what? You know who is prime example of that actually? My grandma.
really.
My grandma, my abuela. My abuela was so miserable in her home because her
Mm-hmm.
dad was such a little bee. And I want to say God rest his soul, but he was such a freaking bee. Like,
Mm-hmm.
literally, like, probably so abusive. But you know what? Shit happens, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, she was so miserable in her house that that she ended up marrying like my mom's dad,
Dang.
and they like ended up being together and she moved out the house. But it's sad that it has to come to that point where like your parents, you feel so pressured. So it's funny because my grandma got married at 23 at my age,
Mhm.
my mom got married at 23 at my age, and then me at 23 is like popping bottles every
Yeah.
week.
Oh my God. Same. Like literally, my mom was like changing diapers, and I'm out here living my best life, or on
Yeah.
airplanes. But I'm very grateful for that because I feel like, um, I just hear stories, like of my mom, like, oh, my mom doesn't know what it's like to be drunk, bro. Like,
We're gonna take you
girl,
out, mom. Wait next time when
girl,
COVID's
I don't
over.
even think we're gonna make it outside, but she, and not like I'm so grateful for that because obviously that includes me and like my siblings.
Yeah.
But for me, I just see like, damn, ma, like she didn't get these life experiences where like, um, don't get me wrong, like I don't mind going out with my mom, like cool, like let's go. But like she had to see her friends going out to the club, but she couldn't go because she had
Yeah.
four babies to watch, and then soon after five.
Yeah.
Um, or she didn't go to college because she had me. And she sees like her friends, having these types of things when she couldn't because her money had to go to me.
Yeah.
And not that that's bad. I'm so grateful for that. But same thing with my dad.
Yeah.
But I want to be able to put myself in a position where it's like when I'm ready, because I already know fully I am not ready to be a mother. Like I am not
Yeah.
ready um to take that chapter in my life. Especially, but then it ties into like the father of my kids. I want him to be my husband. I want him and I
Yeah.
to have like a
Same.
solid ass relationship where it's not
Yeah.
like we're together for the kids,
Or
you
even
know?
that, like cheating and all, like all here, like all these things play huge factor when people rush to getting married. You know,
Yeah. Oh
and
my
I'm not
god.
married, but from what I've seen from people in my own family, that I'm just like, bro, like I don't get it. Like I just don't get it. And
Yeah.
it's like you push so hard to live this perfect lifestyle, but in reality, you're only like screwing yourself over, to be honest, because like
Yeah.
you want to have this ideal relationship and oh, my parents did it this way, my parents did it this way, and you're living under like trying to have their expectations. But
Mhm.
it's like, yo, you gotta live for yourself, like, because your parents did it one way, but you not notice that they're not happy in their relationship.
I think
Like,
that is so
I think people,
key.
they like create this illusion that their parents have the perfect life because society wants you to think, oh no, like my parents wifey this that hubby, and it's like that's not reality. And I'm so grateful my parents never put that. Like my parents don't. My mom will not say my hubby, and my
Yeah,
dad won't
no.
say my wifey. He'll be like
Yeah.
Raina, Donald, Dang. You know what I'm saying? Like, and don't get me wrong, probably in the privacy of their own home, like in their own room, I'm assuming,
Mhm.
like, okay, lovey dovey, but like they show me, yo, it's hard to be with somebody for 20 something years. Like, it's hard. Like,
Yeah.
people make it seem like, oh my God, it's all like all flowers and rose petals everywhere. It's like, no, like when you're with
It
somebody
takes
for that
work.
long, yeah, because you guess what? Shit gets boring real quick. Like, real quick. And especially, I think it's even worse when you try to have kids like immediately after being married, actually,
Mhm.
because right there
Yeah.
it's like don't spend the quality time. Like, how do you expect, okay, humans have a certain attention span, correct?
Mhm. Mhm.
So you're with your husband, you're in the honeymoon phase. I feel like you should enjoy that out because the rest of your life you're going to be trying to take care of a kid, both of
Yeah.
you,
Mhm.
so then you both lose that fire that made you guys want to be together because you're over here focused on the kid, you know
Mhm. And
and so
now it
that's why.
seems like a chore to be
Yes,
with this person. Like, I have
to
to
make
tolerate you.
time. Yes, now and then it's like, oh, like we have to do this or we have to do that because
Mhm.
of, and you're just not happy anymore.
Yeah.
And I think that's the hardest part in our generation. I would say is that we don't want to sit here and say, oh, like let's wait till we're 30 to get married.
Mhm.
Let's normalize that. Instead, it's like, oh my God, no, I'm 25 and I'm not married. There's something wrong with me. You
Yeah,
know?
I think, girl, I don't know, to me, my higher source is God. So I always say,
Amen.
like, if I was meant to be married, I would be married. If I was meant to be a mom right
Facts.
now, I would be a mom. If I
Yeah.
was meant to do like a lot of things, you know? And I don't know, I think it kind of comes down to yourself too, where I, and there's a lot of different factors. But one, I'm very grateful that my family is not, or that my household at least, they're not very strict like that. Like growing up, I always
Yeah.
felt like that, and now that I'm older, but I think it has a lot to do with me moving out because I
Yes,
showed
I
them like,
agree.
you
Yeah,
raised me right. I'm not about to go out in the streets and act a fool.
I
Like,
agree 100%
no,
actually.
I
Yeah.
know what it's. You taught me to do my work, go out and make it home. That's what I'm doing with a
Yeah.
little bit of fun. Hell yeah,
Yeah.
like, but
A little drink here and there.
yeah, like if, and I always tell like at first when I first moved out or like when I first came back home, I'm like I would tell my mom like, Ma, like I could be doing so many things, like the people things I've seen, like
Yeah.
you better be praying to God that I'm your baby girl,
Sh-
like
You
because
gotta be grateful because yo, there's
yeah,
kids our age right now that got one, two, three kids,
scandalous. Mhm.
got
And
no
not that that's a
job.
bad thing, but it's like for me, okay, like for instance, our parents, I think majority of us didn't grow up with the fairy tale
Yep.
good example. So I'm a hopeless romantic, or I'm like, damn, like I don't know, like movies make me feel some type of way.
Hmm.
So, but I already know that a movie is just a movie because it always has a happy ending, and that's not
Yep.
necessarily life. So
Facts.
my parents, they give me advice and it's good advice, but
Hmm.
sometimes it's kind of like I'm gonna pick and choose my advice because because you didn't do it right, you think this is the right way. But the
Yep.
right way isn't necessarily always the right way, especially for me
Period.
as a person, you know?
Yep.
So, because I'm not my dad, I'm not my mom. I'm a product of them, but I'm not them. And
Exactly.
times are different, So if I'm gonna fall on my ass because I made the wrong choice, then I'm gonna do it because I know at the end of the day that I was 100% sure that this was the choice I wanted to make, you
Yep.
know? Not, um, not that I want to fail, but sometimes have to. So I
Hmm.
see my friends or my family members who do have babies, and like shout out to you guys. I think you guys, whether you're a single mom, whether you're married, like being a mom is no easy task.
Hmm.
Um, but for me, I just don't see it that way. And I've just come to the point where I think it's funny because a lot of people are like, not like you're not bothered. And I'm like, no, because I'm at peace
Yeah.
with how I am. So if someone's gonna sit here and tell me something negatively about what I'm doing for my career, what I'm doing in regards to dating, what I'm doing in regards to my thoughts having kids or whatever, that's on them because at the end of the day, they go home
Yep.
to their house and they close their door. And if they're thinking of me, that must really bother them. Then I'm over here living my best life, while
Yep.
they're over there wishing that they could do the things that I'm
Facts.
doing, you know?
Yep.
And it's like, you could do it, baby girl. You just got to take that first step and choose to do it. Like I
A
do. You
freaking
know, man?
man.
Like,
Bro, yes. And you know what's crazy? It's like, I think once you start living out of your parents' expectations, you
mhm,
feel so much happier. And the happiness literally just comes in. Because it's like, for me at least, I'm like, you know what? My higher source is God. God
mhm,
and the universe. I love them too, you know? And I'm like, you know what? I'm like, God, if it's for me, it's for me. And if it's not, it's not. And that's it, you know? As long as I can say that I've tried everything that I wanted to try throughout my life,
mhm,
who is it to tell me that, oh no, I'm not living life the way it's supposed to be? Who created these rules that
mhm,
there's a certain way to living life? Please
mhm.
let me know who created them. Because who said that you have to be by 35 or by 30 or by no, by let's say 20, between 21 and 25, you have to be married, you have to be like having a kid right now, your career has to be set. Like, who created these false ideas? Because in
Yeah,
reality, that's not how reality works. Like, that's not
honestly.
at all how it works.
Yeah, and I hate that it comes with like this disrespect that, oh, you don't want to get married, or this kind of like look like, no, baby girl, I'm not
Yeah,
thinking to get married, I'm not looking to have kids, I'm not looking to do
girl.
that. And
Child.
it's easier said than done sometimes, but
Yeah.
I don't know. I think you have to be strong minded when it comes to doing those things because if, um, and that's built up, it's not like I woke up one day and was like, fuck this, like, no, because sometimes criticism does hurt. Words freaking hurt.
All the time.
Um, but I pick and choose my battles. And at the end of the day, I know what's meant for me will always be for me. That's literally my tattoo. Oh, bless you.
Que será, será.
Yes, que será, será. Whatever will be, will be. And
Exactly.
that's with everything in my life, honestly. So, I mean, if it works for you, you want to get married, I hope you find the love of your life. But
I hope
please
so
don't, like,
too.
yeah,
But
like,
don't be like stressing yourself out because of that.
yeah, okay, because
Please.
definitely, like, do I love? Hell yeah, where my man's at? You feel me?
Yeah.
But I'm not gonna sit here and base my life like, okay, I need to find a man. And then it's like, don't conform to being something
Oh,
that a man wants, because that man ain't for you, girl. If you gotta change your
period.
ways, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Communication is so key, guys, with anything you want to do. So
I
if somebody's
agree.
telling you like, oh, that career choice is, why do you want to do that? Well, I want to do this because of this. At the end of the day, you communicated that, and if they're not reciprocating or understanding what you're saying to them, they don't really, if they're not understanding it, it's because I don't think that they take care enough to understand it. They just want
Yep,
you to see their way and not
I agree.
care about what you think. So, all in all, guys, do what makes you happy.
Period.
If you don't do this, the typical, get X amount of money, meet a man or a woman, get married, have kids, and live happily ever after, that is okay. Like, that's,
Yes.
I think, our parents' ideas, especially, I've always seen that too with my grandma. Like, um,
Yes.
why divorce is not an option. No, it is an option because
Oh,
if you are
baby, it
unhappy or
is.
if it is unhealthy,
I'd rather get
I
divorced
don't,
than kill somebody and then go to jail.
yeah. And
Let me get my
sometimes,
divorce.
yeah, like,
I'll be about
I
my business.
I think that's so sad, like,
Yeah.
because I've seen my own family go through that. I've seen friends go through it, and I'm like, dude, if you're happier apart, then that's what matters. Yeah, does it suck? Yeah, of freaking course.
Mhm.
But at the end of the day, I would want my loved ones to be happy with whoever they're supposed to be with, than to be
Yes.
happy to what the world thinks, but behind closed doors, they're miserable and crying themselves to
Oh,
sleep.
yes. A freaking man. I
That's
agree.
definitely why I'm not married right now because, girl, like,
Can you imagine if you were married to the first person who you fell in love with? I think I would have freaking
girl.
died. Like, not to say they're not bad people, but
No,
like, yo, I feel like we've
yeah.
grown so much. Like, everyone's constantly growing from their
Mhm,
original selves or the way
mhm,
that they were born with, or from the beginning of them meeting somebody.
yeah.
It's like it's okay to want to date. You're not a whore or a hoe if you want to date.
Yeah.
Like that's
Mhm.
fine. You're figuring things out because this is the perfect time to do it. Because I can't imagine being 70 years old and like get like, and it's sad that people have to wait till they're 70 years old to get a divorce because their parents was like, no, you can't do it. So you're respecting
Yeah.
your parents while you're just being unhappy, guys. So all in all, guys, live your best life. Talk to your parents.
Yes.
Just have a
Honestly,
conversation with
yeah,
them.
talk to them, call your grandparents. Honestly, I
Yeah.
think that means a lot. Um, but I think obviously, like just talk to them. And if some you have different views, I think that's okay.
Yeah.
But don't be hard-headed to feel like, oh, I'm right and you're wrong, or vice versa. Sometimes it's easier said than done, but I think when you're not trying to conform to other people's expectations, you're so much more at peace.
Oh, for real. Listen, take it from us. We've
Mm-hmm.
literally been unconforming for the last couple years
5 years,
actually.
yeah.
Yeah, we've
Mm-hmm.
been really unconforming society rules and like society's norms cuz look at
Mm-hmm.
us now, bro. We have a podcast. Like
I know.
our parent like my mom is like, "Bro, you be exposing too much." I'm like, "Mom, you know what? You just got to let the truth out, cuz if
Yeah.
not like how hypocritical would I be if I found a solution that helps me feel so good about myself that I'm not going to give that to the next person or not going to give
Mhm,
that advice to the next person.
mhm.
And so, guys, you know what? Start breaking norms. Start breaking society norms. Start breaking generational trauma. Start breaking
Yeah,
all of that stuff, yo, and find out what is your path in life.
yeah.
So we love you guys, though, and
Love
remember,
y'all.
December 12th is the last day for the toy drive. Everyone who has been donating, we've been buying
Thank you
things.
so much.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Literally amazing. Like those kids are gonna be super happy. We're super overly grateful.
Mhm.
But we're gonna do a cute little, probably like a little video
Yeah.
of like the toy drive and stuff like that.
Mhm.
And so catch our IG or catch us at our Instagram at Las Chicas
Yeah.
del Barrio 305. You already know the vibes. You know where to find us. Link down
Period.
below. And that's on period. Love you guys. Bye.
Bye.